And welcome back. This is a reminder, have something to drink. Did you have water? When was the last time you took a drink of something? Dehydration or hydration is what we're going to start with today. And so many of us are walking around not being properly hydrated, having so many health issues and not even realizing that it could be tied back to the amount of liquids that you're ingesting. This all comes courtesy of her, which she practices science-based body work. And, I didn't even think of the connection between certain types of massage. She's a licensed massage therapist at Innovaetas, and she's back with us. So great to have Catherine McCracken join us on the program. How are you today?
I'm great. How about yourself?
Um, Having a drink of seltzer. How
Cheers.
long?
Yeah.
I have so many of those water bottles that you just held up, and I try to be intentional, like fill the bottle up, then you know how much you're drinking, and then I'll just, I have time. I'll just, if I just count the number of cans or the coffee or whatever, I,
Right.
as intentional as I am, I know I'm not drinking enough. Is there a rule of thumb to know what we should be drinking here?
Well, I mean the guidelines, it's like, I don't know, 1 ounce per body pound kilo. I don't even know. I always say the things that you want to pay attention to is one, do you feel thirsty? And two, what color is in the bowl? You know?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because you want it to be like a light yellow to almost clear, and the darker that it gets, the more dehydrated that you are.
Gotcha.
So, mhm.
I'm trying to remember what I heard that half your body weight in ounces.
Something like that.
We don't even come close to that. Let's be honest, most of us. So,
Right.
whatever, no, whatever you want to say, it's probably not even happening.
Yeah.
How does
And
this?
then it varies per time of year. It varies per, whatever you're doing, how active you are, because honestly, and this is, I would say this is might be one of those TMI things, but like on days when I'm working, when I'm doing like 7, 8 hours of massage, I can drink a gallon of water and basically not go to the bathroom because I'm moving. And so all of the fluids, one of the most important things of that our skeletal muscles do is they move the fluids through our body and they get it into the cells. They get the lymphatics working. And then, but on days when I'm doing my research and sitting on the computer, I have like a leader and I'm like, gotta go, just because I'm not moving.
Mm, how
Hmm.
does this relate to the body work you do, the hydration part of it?
Oh, gosh. Well, my primary focus is manual lymphatic drainage, and I am kind of crazed about the lymphatic system. I did a real deep dive into it 2 years ago. I started studying myofascial work in 2013, and I've been training as a body worker since 2008. So I've been doing this for a very long time. And as I was studying the myofascial, we talked about dehydration and we talked about knots and how knots are areas of dehydration. So I actually, to help kind of clarify that, I brought a model of superficial and deep fascia so you can kind of see and get an idea of what I'm looking and what I'm talking about. So you ready? It's super high tech. Just brace yourself.
Okay.
There you go. Little scrubby sponge. That's all it is, just a little scrubby sponge. And so the superficial fascia is areolar and it's filled with adipose tissue, so it's kind of squishy. And see, I can massage and the whole thing moves. But the deep fascia, like the scrubby part, that is really stabilizing. So I can hold that there, move the superficial fascia across it, and that is nice, healthy superficial and deep fascia. But when I get a knot, boom, just pinch right into it, and there it is sunk in. Well, now when I try to massage it, it isn't nearly as mobile. And then the fluid can't get into where that knot is. So just to give you kind of an example of what's going on there, so you can kind of see and get an idea, because that's what a knot feels like to me, is an area that is really stuck, really tough, really dehydrated. And when that area gets dehydrated, again, our lymphatic system starts 1 millimeter below the epidermis. And that lymphatic system is all about homeostasis of the fluid in the body.
Okay, we're a
So,
little technical here. Um,
yeah,
what we hear the term all the time. Oh, I have a knot in my shoulder. What is a
right.
knot?
A knot is an area of dehydration, put quite simply. And it's
Really?
where the tissues get stuck together. And as the proteins kind of think about it like a rubber band ball, it may start out as a childhood trauma and then it just starts to build. And year after year, you put more and more and more rubber bands around it, and it just gets tighter and stiffer and denser. And so, in order to open it up, you can't stick your elbow into it and expect it to open up. You need to start pulling the superficial rubber bands off of the rubber band ball to get it to open up and go away.
So interesting you say that. Anytime I've had a knot, uh, even if it's addressed in massage, it
Hmm.
usually doesn't go away right away because
Yeah.
it's there. Like, there's one part of my shoulder is always at one little spot. It's been there for I can't, as long as I can remember. Um, what's the fix on that? If you've really got one that's deep, it's been there a long time, how do you get rid of it?
With the myofascial work and the manual lymphatic drainage. Because if, going back to the or my model here, if I scrunch it, then it stays there. And if I let go, it's still there. But if I start making gentle circles or start pulling the fascia in different directions, then it quickly goes away.
Let's say somebody has a pretty sizable, tough knot.
Hmm.
In one session, can you release it?
The biggest variable actually is age.
Oh, really?
Because I can tell a total difference between a quote unquote fresh knot and how it's just so much more responsive. But an aged knot, it just has been squished tighter and tighter and tighter. And so it's harder for the fluids to get in there. So sometimes, yeah, I mean, it depends upon the age of the knot. That's why we often say that it's like peeling an onion. You have to take the layers off of it and find the newer knots to get to the older knots and therefore get the fluids moving again.
Mm. Would you say if somebody isn't properly hydrated on a regular basis, they would be more prone to having knots?
Certainly. Hmm. And a really, really common cause of knots is chronic malalignment. And what dehydration, I want to back up a little bit and talk about what dehydration does. It's a common cause of fatigue, headaches,
Mm.
difficulty concentrating, constipation, dizziness, muscle cramps, muscle weakness, and just all kinds of other issues, blood pressure issues. And here is a really interesting one, hearing and balance because your inner ear is fluid and your inner ear is primarily responsible for balance. And balance is obviously a huge issue as we age. I am just about 3 days away from completing my graduate certificate at the University of Florida School of Medicine in Aging and Geriatric Practice. And so all of my work has been about how massage and body work is the missing link of the prevention of premature aging.
I believe it. And
Yeah.
what happens when somebody gets older? They don't move around the same way. So the only
Hmm.
way to move that is really in massage.
Right. Or a lot of the people that I work with, I live and practice in Bluffton, South Carolina, very close to Hilton Head Island. It is the Gulf Mecca of America. And a lot of people that I work with, they've been at a desk for 30, 40 years.
Ooh.
So they have been sedentary for all these years. Now they want to get out and play. They want to go golfing 7 days a week. They want to play pickleball and tennis and bocce and, all of that. And they can't because those knots have been in there because they've been sitting at a desk for all those years.
Mm.
So it
Can
affects their ability to golf now.
yeah. And
Hmm.
how long can you eventually dislodge a knot over a period of time of massage?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and what is really cool about the difference between the myofascial therapy followed up with the lymphatic therapy is that unlike regular massage, the effects create a lasting change. One of the leaders in myofascial research, his name is Gil Headley, and he does dissections. I've worked with him a lot, and he says that his blade will he can cut through muscles easily with one blade, but the fascia will dull a blade in a minute or two. That's how tough it is.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, the scaffolding of our body is our fascia. Muscles are very weak. And so the fascia is so tough that if Gil is doing a dissection of a donor, then he can work all day on muscles with one blade, but it'll be dull within minutes by working on the fascia.
Never knew that. Never would think that.
Yeah.
Um, what about bones? Can it even be tougher than bones?
Oh yeah, it breaks bones. Hmm.
That's a wake up.
Yeah, it
That,
really is.
geez,
Hmm. Well, and I'll tell you one other thing that's coming out about fascia that is amazing. If you have time, look up the ghost heart because what they did was they stripped away all of the donor's tissues. It was a pig heart, and they stripped away all of the cells. So all they were left with is the scaffolding, the fascia. And then what they did is they took a pluripotent stem cell and those cells knew to become cardiac cells because of the shape of the scaffolding. They're finding, and then eventually that heart started to beat. A little Frankensteiny, I know, but they're doing it with kidneys, and maybe, God willing, someday they'll do it with lymph nodes.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
And the cool thing about it is it's 100% rejection proof.
amazing. That like
Yeah.
the nobody really, really talks about the fascia and its importance in our body. And the more we talk, the more I see how it's holding us together. It really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. Because when we're chronically out of alignment, our body can't go, I need a new bone in there to stabilize that.
Right.
So it throws down the fascia and locks it. And that just it keeps if your shoulder is out of alignment, it says, okay, you're not going any further. But then that makes it really hard for us as individuals to put it back into alignment. So that's where I come in and other myofascial therapists come in to soften the fascia and to get it to just relax and realign. It's kind of, now here's kind of a good word, neuromodulation, because the nervous system is 100% involved in that. And so if it's out of alignment, then the body is going, uh-oh, fight or flight. And so when it relaxes, it falls back into a parasympathetic state, which is your rest and digest state of relaxation. So it knows it's safe and it can let go and relax.
What else can you tell us about hydration or dehydration?
Oh my gosh, it affects everything, and it really affects the fascia. And again, it completely locks down, and it can lead to the imbalance of the lymphatic system, which is again how your nutrients are delivered through your body because the fluid comes out of the cardiovascular system into the superficial fascia. It gets picked up by the lymphatic system. And as I said before, it delivers dietary fats and fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. D and K are vital for the prevention of osteoporosis.
Hmm.
Osteoporosis leads to loss of height. It leads to your vertebral disc getting scrunked. And then the other thing is the spine, the way that it's aligned, it has little holes that are in the vertebra and in between the vertebra. And what happens when the spine gets scrunched down like that? All of your nerves come out of this. And it is designed like pieces of a puzzle. And so when it is out of alignment, when you get that kyphosis, that hunchback, then the holes that the nerves go through get smaller, the nerves get pinched, and then you have that chronic idiopathic pain that is associated with aging.
Wow.
Dehydration, going all the way back to the beginning. Another thing that it does, again, calcium, vitamin D, vitamin K. Calcium is essential for keeping your muscles healthy because what happens is the brain says, oh, I need to contract that muscle. So it sends the signal down. It opens up, it sends calcium into the muscle. There against that calcium. And then it can start the muscle contractions, the cross bridge where the myosin comes up and then it kind of creates the contraction of the muscle like that. So it's again, calcium, hydration. Gotta have the vitamins and minerals moving around. Gotta have all of it working together. Our life is so based on balance. I mean, think about that's why we don't live at the bottom of the ocean or at the top of the mountain because we need the pressure outside of our body to match the pressure inside of our body. You've heard people say, I could tell a storm's coming, my knee hurts. There's actual science behind that. Crazy, but there is.
I
When the
believe it.
barometric pressure drops, then the synovial fluid expands, you get the swelling, and you get the pain.
All of these things that either we wondered about, you're validating, or we had no idea about. Even
Hmm.
go probably, I'm thinking one of the most important things we can do to improve our health, our balance, and balance in general in our lives is to make
Right.
sure we're getting enough hydration.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Because that helps to keep your spine straight. When you get hunched over like this, gravity then adds more weight to your head. It starts pulling it down, pulls on your jaw, leads to temporomandibular joint disorder. And it's not at all uncommon for me to see people one ear is higher or forward from another because of the way we use our left and our side differently. The fascia will move the ear, which means the ear canal and the eardrum, both totally made of fascia, are getting pulled, they're getting restricted, and this leads to age-related hearing loss.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
that's just crazy. So out there
yeah.
that
But again, so simple, but doctors just don't look at people's alignment anymore. I think maybe in middle school they do that little, bend over spine
this
test,
the
and that's
scoliosis
all that
check.
they do. Exactly. And that's about the end of it. But I'm having more and more and more clients come in with adult onset scoliosis is the new diagnosis, but it usually relates to a childhood injury or chronically using the right or left side of their body differently, and the spine will actually turn.
Now, what you mentioned before about the ear situation and the misalignment of the ears, the head and such,
Mhm.
um, is that reversible? Let's say somebody has
Yes.
some hearing loss in one ear, whatever it might be. Um, just some adjustment could potentially bring that back.
The hearing loss, unfortunately, I've never been able to restore that, but I have been able to reverse the physical external appearance of realigning the ears with the
Is the
myofascial work.
is the hearing loss related potentially to the misalignment?
I believe that nothing has a singular cause. I believe that this is a contributing factor.
Interesting. Wow. This stuff. Anything else you want to add today about hydration and dehydration?
I mean, it's so vital. It just really is. It's, kind of the end all be all of
Right.
everything. Think about it. We start the first 9 months of our existence underwater. We are basically still aquatic creatures, believe it or not. Our mucous membranes have to stay damp or we get sick. That's one of the reasons that people get colds in the wintertime. Their nose gets dry, and so it's less effective at fighting off the virus.
Wow. That alone, all of what we're talking about on the hydration side is mind blowing. But now you add to the fascia and
Yeah.
and everything else going on within our bodies. And I'm a firm believer too, what you said, the word balance. Everything needs to be in balance. We have to do everything we can to give our body balance because when you're off balance, that's where things crop up.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, at any age, but of course, for our older adults, balance, I mean, that fall can often be the first domino to the beginning of the end, and
Y-
it's devastating.
100%. Um,
Mm.
I'm still blown away about the knot. Always wondered what that was. Didn't know what a knot was. I just thought it was, a muscle that's all like kind of bound up a little bit in there, and had no idea what's really going on.
Yeah, yeah. It's
Mm,
it's interesting, and what now that we've learned about it, we know how to treat it. And so I'm trying to get the word out there to other massage therapists. Stop digging your elbow into it. Open it up and spread it and apart so that the fluids can get into it.
And what do I do? Have a knot? Oh, yeah, I can't get the massage therapist. Oh, there's a door jam. Let me just
Right.
rub that in there and just get that. That's the elbow in there, and
Kind
okay.
of. But like you said, you were rubbing against it. So that movement can create the same effect as the myofascial. Or the other thing you can do is melt. And you can take something like a tennis ball and just put it behind it and lay on it. Open your chest and do some really deep diaphragmatic breathing because neuromodulation, get the nervous system involved to tell the muscles what to do, and then it will open up and it will relax.
Amazing. You are located in South Carolina,
Mhm.
not far from the Hilton Head Island Bridges, right?
Correct, correct. Yep,
Got
about
it.
10 minutes west of the Hilton Head Island Bridges on 278.
Innovaetas.com is how
Mhm.
you can be found. Spell that first, just to make sure we have it right.
Innovaetas.
You told us earlier what that means. Can you repeat it?
It's Latin, kind of a Latin amalgam of innovative and Aetas, which is aging. So it's innovative aging, which is what I've been studying. So I put it together and called it Innovaetas.
That being said, our population is aging very fast. I mean, the segment of geriatrics in our country is huge right now and just getting bigger and bigger. There's definitely a need for
Yeah.
massage therapists focused on that age group. And thank you for studying it and all your insight today. Really, really appreciate it.
Oh, thank
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.